The moment I stepped into my parents' house in suburban Denver, the air felt deceptively warm, laced with the scent of roasted chicken and the faint hum of familiarity. It was a crisp autumn evening in 2025, and the golden glow of the dining room chandelier cast long shadows across the hardwood floor. My mother's voice rang out from the kitchen, bright and practiced, like she was auditioning for a role in a family sitcom. "Dinner's almost ready, sweetheart. Come on in." I wasn't expecting hugs or heartfelt confessions. My family didn't do that. But I sure as hell wasn't prepared for the trap that was about to snap shut. Disguised as a cozy family dinner. At 29, I thought I'd seen through their games. I was wrong. My name's Lauren Carter, and I've spent my life playing the responsible older sister to my 26-year-old sibling, Megan. Growing up in a tidy split-level home in Colorado, I learned early that being the firstborn came with invisible shackles. When we were kids, Mom and Dad gave us each $10 a week for chores. I'd stash mine in a tin box under my bed, dreaming of a new bike. Megan? She'd blow hers on candy bars or cheap nail polish by Tuesday. Then turn those big hazel eyes on me. "Lauren, can I borrow a few bucks?" she'd whine. Before I could say no, Mom would chime in. "Don't be stingy, Lauren. She's your sister." So I'd hand it over, my savings dwindling while Megan's whims flourished. It wasn't a rule, just a pattern, one that stuck like glue. By high school, I was bussing tables at a diner on weekends, earning enough to buy my own sneakers without begging. Megan, 3 years younger, didn't work. She didn't have to. If she wanted concert tickets or a new phone case, Mom and Dad would nudge me. "You've got a job, Lauren. Help her out." I did, because saying no felt like betraying some unspoken family code. When I left for college at CU Boulder, the distance gave me a breather. I studied computer science, worked late nights coding, and scraped by on ramen and student loans. Megan stayed home, coasting through high school, her life a blur of parties and Instagram selfies. For a while, I thought I'd escaped the cycle. Then I graduated in 2020, landed an entry-level developer job at a tech startup in Denver, and the requests started again. Megan was starting at a community college, studying business or something. She was vague about it. Textbooks were pricey. Mom said, "Could I chip in?" Then it was her car insurance. Then a deposit for an apartment she wanted with friends. Megan never asked me directly. It always came through Mom or Dad. Their voices soft but insistent. "She's young. Lauren, you're doing so well." At first, I said yes, thinking my paycheck would make it easier to play the hero. It didn't. The more I gave, the more they expected, and my bank account started feeling like a public fund. The real kicker came last spring. I was 28, finally saving for a down payment on a condo, when Dad called. His voice was heavy, like he was delivering bad news about a sick relative. "Megan's in trouble," he said. "She needs 12 grand. I froze, my coffee going cold in my hand. "For what?" I asked. He hesitated, then mumbled something about bad decisions. I pushed, and the truth spilled out. Megan had been gambling online, racking up debts with sketchy loan sharks. She was studying business, for God's sake, but couldn't manage her own money. If word got out, her shot at a corporate job would be toast. "You're her sister," Dad said. "You can afford it." I didn't afford it. I refused. For the first time, I drew a line in the sand and didn't budge. Megan called me selfish, said I didn't get how much pressure she was under. Mom stopped texting. Dad sent one-word replies. For 6 weeks, my phone was a ghost town. Then, out of nowhere, an olive branch. A group chat invite. "Dinner at our place this Friday." Mom wrote, "Just family. Hope you can make it." No mention of the money. No apologies. Just a casual reset. I told myself they'd accepted my boundaries, that maybe we could start fresh. So I said yes, ignoring the knot in my gut. Friday night, I pulled into their driveway. The crunch of gravel under my tires oddly soothing. The house looked the same, red brick, white shutters, a faded American flag by the porch. Inside, everything was staged for normalcy. The dining table was set with Mom's good plates, and a glass of cranberry juice sat at my place. Just like when I was a kid. I hadn't drunk the stuff in years. My body doesn't handle alcohol or sedatives well. A quirk my family knew but often ignored. Still love cranberry, right? Mom asked, her smile too wide. I nodded, playing along. Dad stood when I walked in. His movements stiff, like he wasn't sure if we were hugging or not. We didn't. Megan was already at the table, scrolling through her phone with that perfected Gen Z boredom. She glanced up, gave a half smile, then went back to her screen. No one was trying to win an Oscar for warmth. But it didn't bother me. I wasn't here to bond. I was here to see if we could coexist. Dinner was simple: chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans. Dad pretended to love it, though we all knew he hated green beans. The conversation stayed light. How's the job? Still liking your apartment? God, traffic's a nightmare lately. I answered, smiled, even laughed when Megan told a story about a coworker tripping in the office lobby. I knew my role: the quiet one, the steady one, the one who didn't rock the boat. But halfway through Dad's rant about highway construction, my phone buzzed in my lap. I glanced down, expecting a work email. Instead, it was a text from an unknown number. Get up and leave now. Don't tell your parents. The words hit like a punch. No emojis, no casual tone, just cold urgency. I read it again, my pulse spiking. The room kept moving, Mom nodding at Dad's complaints, Megan poking at her potatoes, but the text turned the house into a minefield. I didn't move right away. Maybe it was a prank, a wrong number, or some crypto scam, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. Something was wrong. Be right back, I said, pushing my chair back. Gotta use the bathroom. No one blinked. I grabbed my phone and headed upstairs, where the guest bathroom had a lock that actually worked. I bolted the door, sat on the edge of the tub, and stared at the message. My thumb hovered over the call button, then pressed it. One ring, and a voice answered, low and tense. You're still there? Who is this? I whispered. It's Jake, Megan's boyfriend. His voice cracked slightly, like he was somewhere he shouldn't be. What the hell's going on? I demanded. You need to leave, now. Don't drink anything, especially the juice. My mouth went dry. I hadn't touched the cranberry juice, but the glass loomed in my mind. Innocent and sinister. Why? I can't, just trust me. Lauren, get out. Not until you tell me what's happening. He paused, then said, so quietly I almost missed it. They're gonna drug you. They want your phone, your fingerprint, to get into your bank account. The bathroom tiles felt colder, the air heavier. I gripped the phone, my mind racing. Jake's words didn't sound like a joke or a misunderstanding. They sounded like a warning from someone who'd seen too much. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Another pause. Because Megan told me what they're planning. I can't let this happen. I didn't respond right away. I sat there, the faint clink of dishes drifting up from downstairs, and made a choice. I wasn't running, not yet. But I wasn't staying blind either. I ended the call, took a breath, and walked back to the table. The cranberry juice sat untouched, its deep red catching the light. Mom smiled as I sat down. Everything okay? Yeah, I said, forcing a grin. Just needed a sec. Dinner resumed, but I was on high alert. Every glance, every word felt like part of a script I hadn't been given. I picked at my food, my eyes flicking to the juice. Had they really spiked it? And if so, with what? I thought about my family, Mom's overly sweet smile, Dad's awkward pauses, Megan's detached stare, and realized I didn't trust a single one of them. I tilted the glass, pretending to sip, but let the liquid slide back. Tastes like I remember, I said, setting it down. No one reacted, but I caught Megan's eyes dart to the glass for a split second. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Jake. Don't wait. Go. I needed a plan. Was that someone pulling into the driveway? I asked casually, nodding toward the window. All three heads turned. In that moment, I tipped the glass under the table, letting the juice dribble onto the carpet. Not all of it, just enough to make it look like I'd drunk some. The dark stain vanished into the fibers, and I set the glass back, my hand steady. I feel kinda weird, I said, slumping slightly. Tired, I guess. Mom leaned in, her face all concern. You okay, honey? Yeah, just woozy. Might need to lie down. They didn't hesitate. Dad helped me to the couch. Mom draped a blanket over me. And Megan hovered nearby, her phone nowhere in sight. I closed my eyes, breathing slow and even, my heart hammering. The cushion sank under my weight. Warm and familiar, but I felt like I was lying on a bed of nails. Is she out? Mom whispered. Looks like it, Megan said, her voice flat. Okay, Dad said, low and urgent. Let's do this quick. I heard my phone being lifted from the coffee table. Then the soft brush of fingers on my hand. My thumb was gently pressed against the sensor. A faint vibration, unlocked. The betrayal was so quiet. So casual, it was almost worse than a scream. They didn't hesitate, didn't whisper apologies. They just did it. We're in, Megan said softly. Tapping. Numbers being entered. Routing number? Dad muttered. She's got everything saved, Megan said. How much do we take? Not all of it, Mom said. Just enough to cover the debt. My blood ran cold, but I kept still. Debt? Megan's gambling again? Or something worse? I wanted to jump up. Scream. Throw the glass at the wall. But I didn't. I listened, every word burning into my memory. It's asking for a code, Megan said, frustration creeping in. Two-factor bullshit. Dad growled. Try another app. More tapping. Then silence. Same thing, Megan said. She changed it. Mom sighed. Put the phone back. I waited, eyes closed, until I heard them settle back at the table. Then I stirred, blinking like I'd just woken up. Sorry, I mumbled. Dunno what happened. Felt like I blacked out. They stared, their faces a mix of relief and something else, fear. Maybe. You sure you're okay? Dad asked. Yeah, I said, standing slowly. Think I need some air. Actually, I'm gonna head home. Early day tomorrow. No one argued. Get home safe, Mom said, her voice too soft. Megan nodded, avoiding my eyes. Dad just grunted. At the door, we hugged. Habit, not heart. Mom's lavender perfume. Dad's scratchy jacket. Megan's quick pat on my arm. It felt like hugging strangers. I smiled, said, thanks for dinner, and walked out. My phone heavy in my pocket. I didn't tell them what I knew. I didn't mention the juice or Jake's warning. But before I'd left the bathroom, I'd done something they'd never suspect. I'm a coder. I build systems to outsmart people who think they're clever. I'd left my phone's fingerprint lock active, knowing they'd try it. What I'd changed was my bank security, two-factor authentication. The kind that needs a code they couldn't guess. And I'd started an audio recording. Hidden in the background. No blinking lights or notifications. Every word they'd said while trying to rob me was captured. Time-stamped. Ready to bury them. I drove to the police station. Calm as if I were running errands. I parked, walked in, and told the officer behind the desk I needed to report a crime. What kind? She asked. My family drugged me, I said, and tried to steal my money. I have proof. Her eyes widened, but she didn't flinch. She led me to a room. And I played the recording. The officer listened, his face unreadable, then said, "This is serious." I nodded. Yeah, it is. 2 days later, my phone lit up with messages. Mom, you reported us? What's wrong with you? Megan's voicemail, her voice shaking. It was a mistake. Lauren, you blew it out of proportion. Dad, you think the cops will fix this? You're tearing us apart. I texted back once. You drugged me. You tried to rob me. That's not family. That's a felony. Then I blocked them all. Changed my number. Froze my credit. And rewrote my will. It didn't hurt like I thought it would. It felt like freedom. They didn't fight the charges. The audio was too damning. Synced perfectly with my bank's activity logs. Probation, fines, community service, a no-contact order, no jail, but their lives unraveled. Mom and Dad sold the house to cover legal fees. Megan lost her shot at a business career, last I heard. She was stocking shelves at a big box store. Jake? He left Megan, vanished without a trace. I don't blame him. I don't get guilt-tripped texts anymore. My fridge is stocked with food I bought for myself. My life is quiet, clean, mine. So, what do you think? Did I go too far? Or not far enough? The air in my parents' living room felt thick, heavy with the weight of their betrayal. I lay on the couch, eyes closed, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. But my breathing stayed slow, deliberate. I was Lauren Carter, 29. A coder who'd spent years outsmarting systems, and now I was outsmarting my own family. They thought they had me, drugged, unconscious, their perfect mark. But I hadn't touched the cranberry juice they'd spiked. And I was one step ahead, ready to turn their trap into their undoing. Moments earlier, I'd faked a dizzy spell at the dinner table in their suburban Denver home, letting my voice slur just enough to sell it. I feel weird, I'd mumbled, slumping in my chair. My mother, Susan, had leaned in, her face a mask of concern that didn't reach her eyes. You okay, honey? She'd asked. Too quickly. My father, Tom, had helped me to the couch. His grip firm but impersonal, like he was moving furniture. My younger sister, Megan, 26, hovered nearby, her usual phone-scrolling apathy replaced by a tense stillness. They played their parts perfectly, caretakers, worried family, while I played mine, the unsuspecting victim. I'd gotten the warning just in time. A text from Jake, Megan's boyfriend, during dinner. Get up and leave now. Don't tell your parents. Upstairs in the bathroom, he'd confirmed my worst fears. They're gonna drug you, he'd whispered over the phone, his voice tight with panic. They want your phone, your fingerprint, to get into your bank account. The cranberry juice, my childhood favorite, was the delivery method. They knew I couldn't handle alcohol or sedatives. Half a glass of wine once knocked me out cold, but they'd use that against me. The plan? Knock me out, unlock my phone with my thumb, and drain my savings to cover Megan's latest mess. Likely her gambling debts. I didn't run, not yet. Running would tip them off. And I needed proof, hard, undeniable evidence that would hold up when I took this to the cops. So I returned to the table, tilted the glass to my lips without drinking, and later spilled most of it into the carpet when they weren't looking. Now, on the couch, I was their bait, and they were biting. I heard my phone being lifted from the coffee table, the soft scrape of its case against the wood. Then, the worst part, fingers gently curling around my hand, lifting my thumb, pressing it to the sensor. A faint buzz. Unlocked. The violation was so quiet, so clinical, it felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. My family, Mom, Dad, Megan, didn't whisper apologies or hesitate. They just acted, their voices low and efficient, like they'd rehearsed this. We're in, Megan said, her tone flat but eager. Tapping, the soft clicks of her nails on my screen. Routing number? Dad asked, his voice a hushed growl. She's got everything saved, Megan replied. How much do we take? Not all of it, Mom said, her voice calm, almost reasonable, just enough to settle it. Settle what? Megan's gambling debts? Another loan shark chasing her? I wanted to scream, to leap up and smash the phone against the wall. But I stayed still, my breathing even, my body limp. Every word they spoke was being recorded. Before leaving the bathroom, I'd activated an audio app I'd coded myself. No notifications. No visible interface. Just a silent stream capturing everything. They thought they were robbing a sleeping victim. They didn't know they were confessing to a felony. It's asking for a code, Megan said, irritation creeping in. Two-factor authentication. Dad muttered, spitting the words like a curse. Try another app. More tapping. Then a pause. Same thing, Megan said. She changed it. Mom sighed, sharp and frustrated. Put the phone back. They did, the case clicking softly against the table. I waited, counting seconds in my head, giving them time to relax, to think they'd gotten away with it. Then I stirred, blinking slowly, my voice groggy. Sorry, I mumbled, sitting up. Dunno what happened, felt like I blacked out for a sec. Their faces were a study in controlled panic. Mom's eyes darted to the glass, now half empty, the carpet hiding the rest. Dad cleared his throat. Too loud. You sure you're okay? He asked. his voice tight. Yeah, I said, rubbing my temple for effect. Think I need some air. Actually, I'm gonna head home. Early day tomorrow. No one protested. Megan stared at the floor. Her hands clenched. Mom forced a smile, saying, "Get home safe, sweetheart." Dad just nodded, his jaw set. At the door, we hugged, reflex, not affection. Mom's perfume stung my nose. Dad's jacket scratched my cheek. Megan's touch was barely there. I smiled, said, "Thanks for dinner," and walked out. My phone burning a hole in my pocket. I didn't look back, but I felt their eyes on me, heavy with suspicion and relief. The drive to the Denver police station was surreal. The city lights blurring past like a dream. I parked, walked in, and stood behind a guy arguing about a parking ticket. When my turn came, I leaned close to the glass partition and said, "I need to report a crime." The officer, a woman with tired eyes, raised a brow. "What kind?" "My family drugged me," I said, my voice steady, "and tried to steal from me. I have proof." She blinked, then led me to a small room with a flickering fluorescent light. An officer named Martinez joined us. His notepad open, his face neutral. I played the recording. The voices of Mom, Dad, and Megan filling the room like ghosts. Martinez didn't interrupt, didn't react, just listened as they discussed unlocking my phone, transferring money, covering the debt. When it ended, he leaned back. "Do you realize what they were trying to do?" "Yeah," I said. "They wanted my money, probably for Megan's gambling debts." I forwarded the audio file, showed him my bank app's activity logs, failed login attempts, timestamped perfectly with the recording. Martinez nodded, scribbling notes, his fingers slow on a clunky keyboard. "This is serious," he said. "Attempted fraud, biometric misuse, conspiracy, administering a substance without consent. You want to press charges?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes." He asked if I was safe, if I had somewhere to stay. I nodded, though my apartment felt less like home and more like a fortress now. I left the station at 1 a.m., the night air sharp against my skin, and drove home in silence. My phone stayed off. I didn't want to hear their excuses, their lies. 2 days later, the fallout began. My phone buzzed relentlessly, texts, voicemails, all before noon. "Mom, you reported us?" "Lauren, how could you?" Megan's voicemail, her voice cracking. "It was a mistake. Okay? You made this so much worse." Dad's call went to voicemail. "You think the cops will fix this? You're destroying our family." I read them once, then sent a single reply to the group chat. "You drugged me. You tried to rob me. That's not family. That's a felony." Then I blocked them. Mom, Dad, Megan, every contact, every group chat, even emergency bypasses. I changed my number, froze my credit, and updated my will, cutting them out entirely. It wasn't revenge. It was survival. The legal hammer fell fast. They didn't contest the charges, not with the audio, not with the bank logs, not with Jake's statement, which he gave anonymously to avoid Megan's wrath. Probation for a year, hefty fines, community service, and a no-contact order. No prison, but the consequences were deeper. Mom and Dad sold their house, the red brick split level where I'd grown up, to cover legal fees and debts. Word spread through cousins and aunts, whispers of trouble and shame. Megan's business degree became a dead end. No firm would touch someone with a fraud rap. Last I heard, she was stacking boxes at a warehouse. Her dreams of boardrooms gone. I saw her once, months later, at a grocery store across town. She was in a navy polo, arranging cans of soup, her face thinner, her eyes avoiding mine. Maybe she saw me, maybe she didn't. I didn't care. I paid for my coffee and left. The bell above the door chiming softly behind me. Jake was gone too. I learned from a mutual friend. He'd packed up and left Megan weeks after the dinner. No explanation needed. Some betrayals don't require words. My life now? It's quiet, but it's mine. I work. I sleep. I cook for myself. My fridge holds exactly what I want. No cranberry juice. No ghosts. I don't get texts demanding money or guilt disguised as duty. Cutting ties didn't break me, it set me free. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder, did I go too far? Turning my family over to the cops? Or did I not go far enough? Letting them off with probation? What do you think? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where truth cuts deeper than fiction.